On the morning of December 7th, 1941, the Japanese Navy attacked the U.S. naval base at Pearl Harbor, sinking or damaging all 8 battleships, 3 cruisers, 3 destroyers, an anti-aircraft training ship, and a mine slayer. 188 U.S. aircraft were destroyed, and 2,402 Americans were killed. After this, on February 19, 1942, Executive Order 906 authorized the deportation of Japanese Americans into internment camps. Doug Tokuno was in these camps as a kid from ages 4 to 7. He had an uncle in the 442nd, the all-Japanese American unit, one of the most decorated units of the war. He personally remembers very little of the camps, but remembers a lot of the experience after the war.
Yeah, I had 2 uncles in the army during the war. One of them went over to Italy, Europe, and he was in the unit it was the infantry unit that was very.
He was in the 442nd?
442nd, yeah.
Wow, that's impressive.
He was, he was drafted before the war started. He was drafted in 41. Sometime earlier, 41, but when Pearl Harbor hit, he was taken out of his unit and put into the all Japanese unit in the battalion. But my uncle that was there, we used to have a bathhouse back here. It was a tin bathhouse that had a wooden tub in it that had a metal floor. So we used to go out when we came back and. From there, we used to like to take baths with him because he would tell us stories. We'd ask him to tell us stories about his war stories. Well, he had this knife. It was a big hunting knife like this. Had a bone handle on it, and it had a swastika on the handle like that. Metal swastika on the handle. So we asked him, "Where did you get this?" He says, "I took it off in German." It was like, I don't know where he actually got it, well, what did you do with the knife? Oh, he says, I killed 40 Germans, Oh, yeah. He killed 40 Germans, And then later, the longer he talked about it, finally it ended up he killed 80 Germans with it.
After the war ended, the Japanese were let out, but not to welcoming arms. Almost everyone, from teachers to co-workers to friends and even school children, were very violent and hostile towards the Japanese, as Mr. Tokuno remembers.
So I started 2nd grade here. In general, I'd say, there was very little problems with prejudice, but there was a few,
Can you recall any of those times when there was like that little problems?
Oh yeah, there were kids in my class.
Right.
Yeah, and luckily they weren't any bigger than I was, so. I could take care of it.
Well, I mean, like, what did they do?
Oh, they'd taunt you. I remember one time they claimed that their brother or their uncle or somebody that was over in Japan during the war, they said, yeah, they skinned those Japs and they took their skins and made lampshades out of them and that, all kinds of crazy stuff like that, just telling me, trying to, whatever,
Right.
But it didn't really affect me a whole lot. I remember those things, because of what they said, but yeah, I really had no, it wasn't a problem, really, when I got back here. I'd say, for, like I said, my my experience as far as camp was concerned, I was from 4 years old until I came out at, in 45, I would have been 7. So the whole experience was not what I would consider being bad, because I'm, too young to worry about it.
That makes sense.
But I think all in all, it was probably a bad experience for a lot of people. But I think in reality, I think it helped. It probably was a lot safer for the people there than it would have been outside, because there was people that were just not very happy about it. Japanese bombing Pearl Harbor, and those dirty Japs. Those at that time, there was a term called the Yellow Peril. I don't know, was it Chinese or Japanese or maybe both, but there was, how prejudiced are. People are prejudiced, and they were very prejudiced at that time, against Japanese, especially after Pearl Harbor. So my feeling is that it was probably safer for the Japanese to be in those camps than it would have been to be out. I mean, some of the places, here maybe it would have been no problem, but especially in the cities, they were not liked. Very big prejudice.
The first time that it came to me, I was a young